This is Binghamton Now on News Radio 1290 WNBF Binghamton and WNBF.com.
Now is the time. I'm Bob Joseph. We are ready for another big week. The Binghamton Now program takes to the air on a Monday morning, December 2nd, 2024. As always, the number to call is 607-772-1290. If you have a few things that you believe ought to be closely examined, I encourage you. Throw it out there. Go ahead. Make that call. 607-772-1290. And we begin this new week with two big, important words. Hunter Biden. The pardon, apparently official, has been made to the surprise of absolutely no one. The only thing people were wondering is when it would be announced. Why was it announced on a Sunday night before President Biden was heading out of the USA? Timing-wise, I don't know. Maybe they caught wind of something. There's certainly no reason why the pardon, in my opinion, couldn't have waited for a few more weeks, but maybe some people were concerned the president would leave office and would have forgotten to do that. So anyway, I can't imagine anybody in the listening audience can be surprised that President Biden has indeed basically said Hunter. I think the one newspaper headline says Hunter gets away with it. Well, of course. In this country, well-connected and wealthy people can and often do get away with it. People like you and me typically don't get away with it. We don't have the connections. We don't have the money. We just have to understand we are not going to get away with it. And that's probably why people like you and me decide not to commit felonies. Because we can't call our dad or our brother or our father-in-law or whatever. So we play by the rules. And for the well-connected and wealthy people, apparently, the rules don't apply to them. So this is no surprise. Again, the only question in my mind is the timing. It's 9:12 WNBF. Congratulations. You're caller number one. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Surprise, surprise, surprise. DJ in Binghamton. Boy, oh boy. The reason he didn't wait is because he wants the wonderful Hunter, his son, to celebrate Saturnalia, the Catholic Christ Mass, and have peace, on New Year's Eve when he brings in the New Year, the only way that Hunter can bring in the New Year, which I don't know what that is, and you don't know what that is. But, Bob, we do unto others, so, we would do the same thing. I think there's a lot of people out there. Maybe there's some who wouldn't pardon their son if he was a whatever he is. And, again.
No, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
We all would pardon our relatives. I would, you would, everyone would. Every president who has the power, and who is to say that we aren't going to be amused and even shocked at some of the pardons to come. That's okay. That's why we give POTUS the power to pardon.
POTUS.
POTUS has the power to pardon, and there's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is report and then say, wow, I wish it was me.
Right, and what I can say about that my precious little star was raised right. I raised her never, never, never receive the F word, and she never has a felony. And she loves the Lord, and she's a good girl. And yes, and you listeners out there, they're going to call them, "Oh, you people, you people." Listen, you pardon your son or daughter too when it boils down to it. Joe Biden is a typical human being. We all lie, we all make mistakes, but they're but for the grace of God go us. But hey, he did a good thing, I think.
I think he did a great thing. I commend him. Him for, the only question I have is, why was it so limited? He only limited the scope of this pardon to an 11-year period from January 1st, 2014 to December 1st, 2024. So I say he's going to have additional pardons to issue for Hunter Biden for things that Hunter Biden did between December 1st, 2024 and January 20th, 2025. So, and he's also liable to do a pardon for anything Hunter Biden did prior to January 1st, 2014. So I still think a couple of additional pardons are going to be announced pertaining to Hunter Biden.
When do you think that's going to be?
Well, soon. Stay tuned. Could be this morning.
Yes. And
why not?
How many more days?
Why not?
What's today? Today's, happy Monday. Well, I know what today is. I'm not saying what's today like I don't know what day it is, but I know what day it is. But it's Monday, it's the 7th, 14th, 21. 23 days till Happy Hanukkah. Falls on December 25th this year. To all you practicing what Jesus celebrated, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Merry Xmas, Happy Kwanzaa, from DJ and Bob Joseph from Binghamton now.
And thank you so much for the call. Let's go to caller number 2. Congratulations. You're our second caller. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? So close. And it was interesting because today, and today only, caller number 2 was going to get a free bottle of Moxie from the host, but it was a limited time offer, and unfortunately, caller number 2 was disconnected before we could get on air and get her name. Good morning, you're caller number 3. No prize, but you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
It's Airport Road Bob, town of Maine. And Bob, you know I am a prize.
Yes, you do.
Listen, I want to call on, try to change the subject onto positive. Let's get into the holiday spirit. It's a great time of the year, and I'm calling to advocate people to donate to one of my biggest, I don't know, I don't even have words. Mercy House is one of the most amazing places in the world, and we in Binghamton have the luxury of having it here. They're in the middle of a reconstruction project to add some rooms. My mom was there. I was so impressed. It's a nonprofit, and when someone goes in there, everything is taken care of. They have the best care in the world. Linda was on a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, talking about the 6-room project. And if you remember, I called in right after that to advocate people to donate then too. I just had to put my sister in there, and I'm telling you, if you've had a family member in there, you understand where I'm coming from, and I would ask everyone, take the time, make a donation. It's someplace that we need to expand upon and grow and promote.
Well, I appreciate your sharing the thought. Got any special plans this week?
No, just hanging in there. Like I said, it's cold. I'm old. I don't like going outside this time of year. So.
By the way, speaking of cold, and it is going to be cold for the next several days, and later in the week it gets even colder, but there is something good to look forward to. Early next week, there's going to be a warm-up. So if you prefer warmer weather in December, hang on for about a week, because I think we're going to get some temperatures in the 40s.
Wow, sounds great, Bob. And listen, I hope you have a great week. Your show is amazing. People don't really appreciate what you do. Anybody can call in. Anybody can voice their opinion, and you handle it professionally. You don't lose it, even when you're disrespected and abused on the air. But Bob, keep doing a great job. You do it well.
Thanks for your call. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Bob.
It's 9:19 WNBF with Bob Joseph, 607-772-1290. We're here for you. If you were president, who would you pardon? There still is time. And I'm going to look. I think there is an email address. There's got to be some way to contact the Presidential Pardons Office. I don't know if they have an 800 number or an email address, but I am going to look into it, because if you have someone you believe should be considered for a presidential pardon, now is the time. Do it now. Don't wait till the last minute, because I'm sure the calls and emails will be flooding in. So get your request in soon so you can get appropriate consideration. If you or a loved one need a presidential pardon, we'll be asking some of our listeners if they have any suggestions for future pardons. I think it's great. It's nice to have a spirit of forgiveness, especially at this time of year. WNBF, good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Bob from Boston.
Good morning.
You're not going to waste 3 hours talking about that puke, are you?
No, I'm going to talk about Hunter Biden all week. Not 3 hours, 15 hours. 15 big, bold, juicy hours.
Oh, here we go. You're going to start that talking over. All you did is stick up for him. This guy, you know why he got that? Because Biden now is protected from bringing up all the corruption he did. You people, I can't believe nobody can see. Am I smarter than you people that I see what's going on here and you don't? Your callers are all going, well, yeah, it was a good thing. Biden did that because if it all came out about taking money from those other countries, it would have went right down to Big Joe, and Big Joe would have been in a Scranton jail. I don't know. I don't even know why I bother. Oh, and these sycophants that call here, and oh, you're the greatest, Bob. You're the great. Kills me. Oh, I was up the Round Top the other day.
I was too. I didn't see it.
Got the concrete.
Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it?
I don't know what they're doing there, but yeah. I went over to Endicott Library. I said, I wonder if that gate's open. It had snowed the night before. Gate was open. I go, all right. I went up there and walked around a little bit. And yeah, I was surprised because usually when it snows, though, the guy I met walking his dog, he goes, I don't understand why they do that either. They got plows. Why don't they just plow? And he was kind of complaining about that. I know.
Well, I agree with you there. I fully agree.
That, run a plow up through. Oh, and I was looking through that finder there.
Isn't that cool?
I was reading the gas price.
I was too. Over at the Mirabito station on Vestal Road, almost all the way to SUNY Binghamton.
Across from Pudgy's Pizza, I could see that clear.
Isn't it great?
The price of gas. I go, oh, wow, that's cool. And then I zeroed in on the town hall. And
I saw a couple other things. Sometime when we're off the air, I'll tell you what else I saw.
People should go up there and check that out.
They should. That's
one of the coolest places.
That is a really nice addition to the little deck that has been up there now for, I think they opened it about 3 years ago. Yes. Yes.
See, now, people can talk about other things in politics.
Absolutely.
Why is everybody so obsessed with politics?
Oh, I agree with you.
Oh, my God.
I agree.
Please try to steer people away from that, because it just makes people mad.
Well, I mean, on a radio program, you have to talk politics. This is a political station.
Not really. I don't even listen to Bongino. You people might think I sit by the radio and listen to him, and I don't. I listen to Bongino while I'm having some lunch, And I read a book. I don't bother with all that stuff. And then Hannity, he likes Alec Baldwin. Alex Baldwin would kill him if he...
No.
And
Here's the thing about Hannity and Alec Baldwin. As much as they have this media feud, and that's what it is. It's a media feud. The truth is, I bet they run into each other at some of the high-class restaurants, places you and I can't afford, but I wouldn't be surprised over the course of a year they encounter each other either at restaurants or other situations, and I imagine they're very polite and respectful to each other. The whole thing with Sean Hannity and Alec Baldwin, that's all for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying. The way those Democrats treat the Republicans, and then, like Mike Gallagher's going, I'm not going to glow after the election. I'm going, yeah, glow, you idiot, you won. Oh, I'm not going to. I know those people feel bad. Do you think those people would give us a break if you know who won? That's what I mean. You don't do that. These people have put the hammer down on us for 4 years. And now, oh, no, they're nice people. I don't think Chuck Schumer's a nice person.
I think he's pretty nice. I mean,
no, he isn't.
He's not as nice as Kirsten Gillibrand. I like her.
And that Hochul.
I like Kathy Hochul, too. I think.
Come on.
No, especially given how she handled the snow situation in Western New York over the weekend. I think she deserves a gold star for overseeing the state's response with the DOT and the state police and the other agencies that responded appropriately so we could watch the Bills get another big win. Well, it is her job. I agree.
I mean, come on. What's she supposed to do? Oh, I want that Mustang back that, what's his name, drives Cuomo. What's he got? A Corvette?
I don't know if he has a Corvette. I don't know that he ever got rid of that blue Mustang. I want it too. I also want to know, after he had to leave early, and we're not going to relitigate why he left early, but I have to say, did he have to turn in his plate? The one, the license plate I'm talking about, and talk about an ego the size of the Empire State. He had who's that? Who's involved? She runs the license plate line over at Auburn, across from Prison City Brewing. She runs the license plate line, and he called her up to ask her to run off a plate, or 2 plates, one for front and back, that had the numeral 1. Isn't that audacious?
He's number 1. He's number 1 in my book, if you know what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, I had another line I was going to use, but it's early in the week, and I didn't want to offend our more sensitive viewers. Appreciate your call. Hope you have a great day.
All right, later.
It's 927 WNBF. This is the station that actually cares about the nation. Morning, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Excuse me. It's Ron from Binghamton, coughing. Excuse me to put in my cough button for a second. I just took a sip of coffee and went down.
Oh, don't you hate it when it goes down the wrong pipe?
Yeah, and that just happened just when you said my name. Anyway, it's Ron from Binghamton, and hey, my favorite's Hugh Carey. You're talking about New York governors and so on. Hugh Carey, he's my favorite. Drinking that glass of water from the state office building when it was contaminated. Did he drink that finally or not, Bob?
No. He talked big, but he never delivered.
I offer here and now to walk into Binghamton, to any part of that building, and swallow an entire glass of PCBs. And then run a mile afterwards, all right?
Yeah. See, that's one of the great Hugh Carey quotes.
It is. It's his best. It's his best.
Well, he said a funny thing about, he of course was of Irish descent, so I guess he would be allowed to say this. But He was talking about the St. Patrick's Day parade in New York, and he said when they march up Fifth and stagger down Sixth.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Well,
by the way, I can't believe, honestly, I can't believe people would be incensed by that.
By that statement?
Yeah.
Hey,
What? So what? In the grand scheme of things, and I don't care. I know people are saying, oh, well, it, reinforces stereotypes.
Yeah.
Well, it is a stereotype, and is it fair? Maybe, maybe not. But, if you can't handle that, maybe you're just not capable of living in the modern world. I'm not saying I encourage that type of quip. I personally strive never to do it, certainly not on the air and even in private, because I don't think focusing on stereotypes is helpful, whether it's stereotypes about reporters or stereotypes about any particular nationality or whatever, ethnicity. The stereotypes don't advance us, and I don't think you need to resort to stereotypes to be funny or topical. And I know some comedians do, and that's their stock in trade. And for comedians who resort to that, I don't think they should be canceled. I know some people are so sensitive now when it comes to comedy, whether it's on air or in a comedy club, that they get upset, overly upset, when somebody says something. And hey, if you don't like the comedian, either turn it off or leave the club.
Absolutely.
Don't. But to try to get people fired or, to protest, he said something that was mean-spirited. The problem now in life is it's so easy to say something that will be construed, and sometimes accurately understood, but sometimes misconstrued, as being mean. And let's face it, the cancel culture has gone overboard, and it's really forced people to be hyper cautious with everything they say.
Yeah, Bob, that segues into why I called. I don't know if there was any follow-up by you or by your callers. This goes back, I guess, a few weeks when Amy Wax was to be on the university radio station for an interview. You recall that?
I do recall that.
Yeah. And of course, now, it's funny about Amy Wax. It led me to look her up, to go on YouTube and listen to her debate and state her positions. And I think, Amy Wax is really getting knocked and abused by the University of Pennsylvania, where she has been teaching for a number of years. It's a case of what you mentioned, people being offended. And she has some rules in her classroom. She said that nowadays, if a student is offended, they go to a dean or to whomever at the university and complain about the professor, and the professor has to defend him or herself. And everyone's offended at the university if you take a position against university orthodoxy. And university orthodoxy is based on the fact that 95% of university professors identify themselves as liberals. And if you are a student today at Binghamton University or Harvard or in this case, the University of Pennsylvania, where Amy Wax teaches, if you're a student there, you better watch yourself. I mean, you've got to toe the orthodoxy of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, at all costs. And she comes out saying that if you look at the ramifications of diversity, equity, and inclusion, you come up with some pretty difficult things for the society to deal with. And she points these things out. I've listened to her. I didn't find anything in her particularly offensive. And it's interesting, and maybe you know, who exactly canceled her interview with the university station. Was it university administration?
I do not know if the administration had any input in that decision. I sense maybe the administration did, but I don't know. I believe the interview, let me just see if I can find what was sent to me. The interview about the First Amendment. Let's see. I believe that it was the program director. Let me see if I can find. So, looking through a couple of emails, going back to, this all happened, started in late October, so, wow, it's been over a month. Looking for the original note that was sent to Bob Kingsley and his colleague Bob and Andy, who host the show on the Binghamton University radio station. Let me see. Ding, 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 ding. I'm still not saying the specific thing. Anyway, I think it was communicated or conveyed by the woman who is the program director for the station, but I don't think that it was specifically her decision. Let's see. So I'm not going to use her name right now because I don't want her to get flack from people, although her name certainly could be found. Oh, okay. Here's an email from the general manager of WHRW. And she wrote to Bob and Andy, and Bob shared this with me. This goes back to late October. I am sure you are aware that per our Constitution, WHRW as a station is committed to providing the community with educational public affairs programming. This commitment includes all members of the community, regardless of ethnicity or other minority background. Given the harmful nature of Amy Wax's statements, which have led to the University of Pennsylvania sanctioning her, I am concerned. Remember, this is the general manager. I, the general manager, am concerned that this interview may not only fail to be educational, but may potentially harm our listening community. In order to go forward with this interview, you must provide both me and I believe the woman who is the public affairs director or somebody else at the station. You had better provide me with a transcript of the questions you will ask Wax, as well as a written statement explaining how you will ensure that the interview does not result in the airing of harmful statements and language. Please have this to us by the end of the day on October 28th so that we may review it before the proposed interview.
Well, what a pathetic coward this person is.
I don't want to use that description, but it may be apt. And as you probably are aware, I have done no reporting on this story. We certainly have covered it, I think, better than anybody else has so far, just because of this program, talking with Bob Kingsley. But I haven't pursued it separately as a news story. But I would like to talk with the general manager to try to, on live radio, have her elaborate why she was concerned. What she thought could possibly happen from a single radio interview with Amy Wax on the student-operated station. Remember, it's operated by students or for students. Now, Bob and Andy are not currently students, but the station is supposed to be student-run, and I believe she is currently a student as general manager. But my thought is a university community ought to be open to all opinions.
Well, the University of Pennsylvania is muzzling Amy Wax. They're going after her because she does not conform with what is now the orthodoxy of at the universities. She speaks her mind about issues. By the way, she is an MD graduate of Harvard and a lawyer graduate of Columbia Law School. She's articulate. She states her case. She defends her positions, and she should be heard. What bothers me about the whole setup is that the university will muzzle anyone who has a conservative point of view. And this happened when the Republican Club a few years ago was not allowed to have, I forget the speaker, the economics professor. They were not allowed to have him, and they shut him down. The university, Binghamton University, and take all of them. University of Pennsylvania. That's an Ivy League university, and Binghamton University is supposed to be the public Ivy League university, who will not let a person speak on the air unless you go through a North Korean procedure and give the transcript of what's going to be asked, what's going to be said. The university is supposed to be a place for open ideas. I don't think students have to be protected from ideas. Ideas is what it's all about. So I investigated this Amy Wax thing a little bit because of hearing it on your show and the fact that she was going to be on. In fact, I tuned in to hear her, wondering what she was all about. And so I suggest if there are people out there that are interested in what happened, that they go to YouTube and listen to Amy Wax being interviewed and see if that's too much for the snowflakes at Binghamton University.
Appreciate your call. Thank you, Ron. It's 9:42 at News Radio, WNBF, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, and streaming at WNBF.com. As we move forward, not knowing what to expect. It's the beauty of live radio. You never know what to expect. Who will be pardoned next? Will I be pardoned? Should everyone be pardoned? Oh, yes, everyone should be pardoned, right? Open up all the jails, all the prisons. Let everyone out. You're all pardoned. Go and crime no more. I know people are, well, he should have at least been sentenced and then he could have been pardoned. What's the point? Waste everyone's time. We knew he was going to be pardoned. The only surprise, the only real breaking news would have been if Joe said, I am not going to pardon Hunter, and I mean it. And even then, if he said that last night, if he put out a YouTube video and say, hi, I'm the big guy for a few more weeks, and I wanted to reinforce what I've implied in the past or said in the past. I really won't pardon my wonderful son, Hunter. That would have been big news. The pardon itself, it's news. It should be reported. It's not big news. It's not the biggest news. The biggest news would be for Joe to say, yeah, Hunter, looking forward to your sentencing. I hope the judge is lenient, but it's time that you really pay for the crimes you've committed. It's 9:46 at WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning there, Bob. Dave from Vestal. How was your holiday? Good?
Excellent.
Good. Hey, Bob, I was thinking about the question you asked this morning about Hunter. First of all, I really mean, you wanted him to say, I really mean I won't part, which sound like a 2-year-old, Bob. No, he obviously he lied. But that's part for the...
No, in other words, obviously he's like every president, past, present, and future. Every president lies. We already know that. That's not noteworthy.
Right. Well, that's just part of... It's part mainly of the Democrats' Party. They take an oath to lie, okay? The Democratic Party, they actually take an oath to lie, okay? So, the reason why, Bob, the only thing I can figure is in a couple of weeks, the sentencing is coming up. And I believe when you're sentenced, can't you be sent to jail immediately? Does this all stop now? I'm asking you, because he's being pardoned, I don't think this sentencing is going to stop.
Oh, yeah. There's not going to be any sentencing. Come on, man. Get real.
You don't think so?
It's over, baby. So? It's over.
So that answers your question. What you said, the timing. That's why. Sentencing coming in a couple of weeks.
But so he could have still been sentenced. The judge, look, no judge is going to sentence the son of a sitting president of the United States to prison and then say, you're remanded. You have to go directly to prison from here, from the courtroom. No judge was going to do that 2 weeks before Christmas. Come on, man.
But he still could have been sentenced to some time.
So he could have, and then he could have been pardoned still. That would have made it even more delicious and even more nutritious. So actually, Joe saved us a lot of unnecessary grief closer to the holidays. So in that sense, I guess he actually did us all a favor, that we don't have to be hanging out here on the eve of the holidays saying, gee, I wonder if Joe is going to give Hunter a pardon for Christmas. So it's okay. It's fine. Nobody is harmed by the pardon. In fact, I say it does good. This is going to help the economy because Hunter Biden now can go out and buy holiday gifts for all of his friends. He may get a bigger gift. Maybe he'll give his dad a new Corvette to put next to the other secret documents in Delaware, in Wilmington.
Well, you know what else you're going to see, Bob? You're probably going to see blanket pardons of other members of his family.
As it should be. I've already said that. I said he should pardon Dr. Jill. He should pardon anybody in America with the last name Biden, just to be safe.
His brother, all of them. He's going to pardon them because he knows. See, the big thing about he knows they're all guilty. Even he is guilty. I want to see him pardon himself on the way out.
He will. I don't know if he will. He should. You're right. He should. And by the way, just for kicks, just to really mess with people's minds, he ought to pardon all of the January 6th hostages to beat Trump to the punch. That would really confuse the heck out of people. Be like, what? Joe can't do that. That's why we elected Donald John Trump Sr. We want Donald John Trump Sr. to pardon the January 6th insurrectionists. And then mysteriously, at 11:58 a.m. on January 20th, Biden signs the document pardoning all of the insurrectionists to take the wind out of Donald John Trump Sr.'s sails. That would be precious.
Yes, it would. But, Bob, I like what you said the first time. You call them hostages. That's better. It's more appropriate.
It's not my term. That's what Trump has called them.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't believe they're hostages. They're criminals. They're everyday criminals who violated federal law. And you don't do that. You don't do it. I don't do it. The reason we don't is because if we violate federal law, if you or I were to go into the federal building here on Henry Street in downtown Binghamton, a block from where I am now, and go to areas where we were not personally invited or where we were not authorized, we'd be subject to the same sort of prosecution appropriately, not because I agree with it, but because it's the law.
That is true. He's probably going to blanket pardon the whole deep state.
He's going to blanket pardon Dan Bongino, John Hannity, Mark Levin, everybody. Remember Oprah? Even he'll pardon Oprah. Pardons, like Oprah with the audience. He may do a blanket pardon for everybody in the country. 350 million pardons.
If he doesn't, Bob, you're going to see members of the deep state. You're going to see him on flights with a one-way ticket to another country.
They're not going anywhere. They have no need. They'll be pardoned. They'll be pardoned. And again, part of this is because the writing is on the wall. Look at who's going to be running justice. So Pam Bondi will certainly weaponize the Justice Department when she takes over in the new administration. So in my view, Joe had no choice.
FBI, NSA,
everything, every cabinet member, every employee of a government agency, whether they're administrators or just rank and file, everybody is pardoned.
Where they should be shaking in their shoes because they colluded to do Trump.
Makes no difference. They're going to be pardoned. Yes, they were shaking in their shoes till Sunday night, and now they realize the pardons are ready to flow.
Bob, General Michael Flynn, I wanted him part of this. I wanted him digging. I wanted him the one to clean out the deep state. I wanted that guy involved.
Well, sorry. It ain't going to happen. It ain't happening. Anyway, more pardons to come. If I get through to the pardons office, do you want a pardon for yourself?
Bobby, yeah, certainly, just in case. You never know.
All right. I'll put in a word. It's 9:53. Everyone gets pardons. Why not? 9:53. WNBF. It's a time of forgiveness and then forgetfulness. This is Binghamton Now with Bob Joseph. I beg your pardon? It's WNBF, where the fun never stops. Let's go back to the phones. Dick in Binghamton, good morning. You're on the air.
I'm calling in regards to pardon. I really don't think it's any of our business to start with. The president is the president. Apparently, they forgot that Mr. Trump, when he was in office before, pardoned Gerard Kushner, his son-in-law's father.
And now he's going to make him ambassador to France.
Yeah, talk about hypocrisy. Government is a dirty business, and things happen. But regardless of what President Biden said, I have no issues with him pardoning his son. I mean, it's not a cardinal sin. It's not the end of the world. And President Clinton pardoned somebody also. So I mean, it's politics, and I don't have any issue with it. And I don't think anybody should. And don't be singling out the Democrats, because all presidents pardon people. They pardon criminals and people who broke the law. So it's not a big deal for me. We have to move on.
I agree.
I agree.
And don't you agree that it was inevitable that President Biden would pardon his son Hunter? I mean, whether it was announced in early December or in mid-January, I assumed all along he was going to do it.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, he's misspoke more than once, and a lot of politicians misspeak and change their mind, whatever, later on. But I'm not going to crucify the man for pardoning his son and hoping that his life goes on a better track. So
that's what I think most Americans want, is the best for Hunter Biden, whether you like him or not, and even whether you think he engaged in rampant criminality. I think we still, especially at this time of year, just hope for the best for Hunter Biden and his family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate your call.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Thanks. Yeah, we just want the best for everyone. That's what we want. I'm Bob Joseph. You're listening to Binghamton Now on WNBF. And we're joined live by the Broome County Executive, Jason Garner. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bob. Good morning, Broome County. How you doing? How was your Thanksgiving?
Mine was swell. And I know I already interrogated you on your Thanksgiving. You said it was busy, so...
It was, and I think I gained I heard, I was reading somewhere that the average person gains 6 pounds. I don't know if it's on Thanksgiving Day or on the whole holidays, but
I think it's the whole holiday season.
Well, I'm in trouble because I think I already gained that, at least. So.
Well, it doesn't matter how much I gain between now and January 2nd. My New Year's resolution is to lose 200 pounds.
Well, the more you gain, I guess, the more it'll be easier to lose.
People will be astonished. I'll be getting clicks all over the place. They'll be like, that's astonishing. He lost 129 pounds in the first month, and there was no surgery involved and no magic. He's just that good. Anyway, a lot to talk about here in Broome County. Well, here's something we don't talk much about. Grippen Park. We'll start off over in that part of the county, western Broome.
Sure.
It appears that they have wrapped up construction work on the improvements and renovations at Grippen Park in West Endicott for the season. Is that correct?
For the season, they have. Yeah, there's a little bit more work left to do on it. Some of the amenities outside of the building are going to be have to be completed. But yeah, substantially for this construction season, the work is wrapped up, and we'll do an official opening in the spring. In fact, it's kind of interesting you brought this up because I just had an hour meeting with my parks director and one of the employees that's going to be doing a lot of the events down there, and we were talking about all the events that we're going to be having next year at Grippen Park. So it's going to be very exciting.
What about fireworks?
Oh man, I didn't think about that. But
well, you better start thinking about it. If the county spends this much money to upgrade the park with all the amenities, including the renovated, refurbished, what I still call as the original rink building, plus the other amenities beyond that building, I would say it calls for a celebration that would entail fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely do that. But I mean, what we were talking about is how we have Broome bands together at Otsego Park. We want to bring a version of that out to Grippen. We think the building is a really great place to have concerts and other events that we talked about. We're having a fall festival. We want to do a whole Christmas event there because we have this really nice rink that we're going to be putting in during the colder months. So we thought it'd be kind of a lot of people go to New York City. They go to skate down there. We thought it'd be kind of a nice little version of that, right, where people can skate and they can get hot chocolate, and maybe we can have people caroling out there. And I'd like to get a nice Christmas tree there. And then there's some other things that we're talking about. The interesting thing about Grippen Park is that we have this really nice building now that's kind of like an outdoor/indoor building. And I think there's just a lot of lot of different types of uses for this building. Certainly, there's a lot of amenities, a lot of things to do there. But in terms of hosting proms out there or weddings or other types of events in the building, the building, because it's just been it just used to be a bunch of dirt inside the building for so long after the rink shut down. There really wasn't anything that we could do in the building except BMX biking, and now it's really opened up a lot of different opportunities for a lot of different types of community events inside the building. So we've been we got a whole bunch of events planned for next year as we open up the park, and really it's really kind of reintroducing this park to the community, because for so long there just really wasn't a lot to do there, but now there would be a lot to do there.
When was the last time you were actually at the site?
Probably about a month ago.
And as of that point, describe what you saw as of, say, maybe early November, around then, the last time you were actually there, what it looked like compared to the way things looked before the work began.
Oh, the way things looked before the work began, it was just like an open field, kind of a rundown playground, and then the building was just kind of a rundown building. That and the building's been totally upgraded. It looks beautiful. They've really cleaned it up. They're getting inside the building and renovating the area where the concessions are. And then the last time I was there, they had just started to put up parts of the wiffle ball stadium, but most of the amenities, you'll see all that progress finish, and starting in the as we get into the spring and we can get the construction season back into full swing. So I'm really excited about it, and I think a lot of other people are excited as well. It's the first time we've really kind of reopened a park in a very different way, and so we're excited about it. I think it's going to be great for the community there in Endicott, and I think it's going to be great for the rest of the county too. I think there will be a lot of people from outside Endicott that will be, utilizing it.
So when do you think it officially will open in its new configuration? Is there a target date based on the meeting that you had this morning?
So there's the only thing that's a little weather dependent in this is that we have to put a type of treatment on the floor that requires the temperature to be at least 50 degrees for a certain amount of time in order for the treatment to hold. There's some type of sealant that we have to put on the floor, and for anybody that's been down there, it's a huge floor. It's the floor of the building, and so we just have to wait for it to be 50 degrees. I don't know if it's for like 2 or 3 days or for 3 or 4 days, for like a multi day period for that to happen. And once that happens, I think we'll have all the other amenities wrapped up by then. So, typically it could be, depending on the weather, it could be in early May, mid-May, sometime that the park will be officially opened.
And you touched on some special events. Anything else that you didn't mention that the county is working on that might be compelling to people in West Endicott or to all county residents as we look forward to seeing the new version of Grippen Park?
Well, I think the first year is going to be, like I said, you're going to have concerts out there. You're going to have, we'd like to do a wiffle ball tournament. We'd like to do a pickleball tournament. I mean, there's going to be, you're going to see people utilizing the new playground, utilizing the track in there, utilizing the basketball court. I'm sure people will be on the wiffle ball field and the football field. But what we'd like to do is to do some events as well. So the other thing we talked about doing was a 5K and try to, maybe do a 5K between Round Top and Grippen. We do 5Ks at all, most of our major parks, and we'd like to incorporate our 5K series and add Grippen into it as well. But I also think it's going to be, the other thing that we'd like to hear from, and people can certainly call my office or the parks office, is that if there's people in the community that want to see different types of events there, we're also listening to people, because we don't, we certainly don't have a monopoly on all the great ideas for events out of Griffin or even other parks. So we would encourage people, whether they're in Endicott or other places in the community, to call, and if they have events that they would like to see there, we can definitely do that.
And looking ahead, say about a year from now, unless something's changed, there's still a possibility that when it's sufficiently cold that there could be skating when the floor of the building is flooded. When obviously, if people not familiar with the history, the
right.
long and colorful history of Griffin Park, initially it did have refrigeration equipment to make ice, but sadly, the county learned the hard way that putting dangerous chemicals right next to the river, where there's always a propensity for flooding or possibility of flooding, that definitely was not the best thing to do. So the county didn't decide to put in expensive new refrigeration equipment. But there's still, when the weather permits, there still could be ice skating looking ahead to the winter of 25 and 26, correct?
Yeah, there will definitely be ice skating in the winter of 25. So as soon as it starts to get colder, probably starting in early November of 2025, we'll be able to put the skating rink out there and keep that going until it gets warmer and we can't do it anymore. But like I said, one of the things that we want to do is we like to have some events associated with the skating rink, right? Have places where people can come and take pictures with Santa and have some caroling there, and some events where people might even be able to rent skates. We're looking into potentially being able to do some skating rentals there. So, but definitely the rink will be ready to go by next year.
We're talking with Broome County Executive Jason Gardner. It's 10:23, a live program. Have you been provided with the questions in advance?
Questions for what?
See? Good answer. You're never provided with the questions in advance. This is not CNN or Fox, for that matter. We just we cover all the appropriate issues in real time. Staying in that part of the county, of course, my beloved Round Top still looks good, but one thing that was added in recent weeks was a thing where I can now keep a I don't even know, is it a Viewmaster? Somebody called it a Viewmaster. What do you call that thing they put up? So now I can even look at the gas prices for the Morabito station over near Skate Estate. It's incredible what you could see with the thing.
Yeah.
What is that viewer? What do you call that? I'm
going to call it a viewfinder.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah.
So these are. I'm just surprised we haven't had something like that out there before. But if you remember, a few years ago, we were able to cut down some of the trees out there that used to have a beautiful view, and we were able to open up the view, if you will, for the community. And then Assemblyman Lopardo gave us a really nice grant to pave the viewing area. And one of the things that we did put in very recently was this viewfinder, which allows you to kind of like zoom in, and it really is an astounding view there. And just like a lot of other places across the United States or world, when you're in these really nice places, they have these viewfinders that you can go and take a look at and really see the beautiful, majestic view and all of its splendor all around you. So we installed one of those, and it's just a nice little perk to the really nice view that we have over there.
And I was surprised some listeners told me about it, and I'm looking back now, it looks like it was installed maybe in around mid-October.
Yeah, it was installed very recently. I would say in the last 6 weeks or so. And then I don't know if your listeners mentioned this to you, but we are full bore into putting in the foundation for a really, really nice project, which is our Crime Victims Memorial Project. We're working with a local Boy Scout. It's part of his Scout project. Unfortunately, in a terrible tragedy, his mother was murdered a couple of years ago, and his Eagle Scout project has been to memorialize not just his mother, but all victims of crime who have lost their lives in Broome County with a beautiful memorial wall that we broke ground on a few months ago, and our crews have been pouring the cement foundation for, and we expect to have that opened and finished by April as well. But this was a project that he came to us about a year ago that he wanted to do for his Eagle Scout project, and it's going to be a very touching tribute and a really nice addition to the park.
We'll have more about things going on in Broome County in a moment. We're talking with the county executive, Jason Garner, live on Binghamton Now. I'm Bob Joseph on WNBF. Our conversation continues with the county executive, Jason Garner. We'll stick in the Endicott area for a moment. The IBM Endicott demolition. I keep getting the sense that it actually may happen before Christmas.
I believe it is. Well, it all won't be down by Christmas.
No.
But it will certainly start before Christmas.
Right. Chris Pelto from Phoenix Investors, who oversees here on campus, when I spoke with him, I think a little over a week ago, I think he is under the impression it could take at least 4 months. It's not going to be a quick demolition, but at least we see, I'll say, the light at the end of North Street finally.
Yes, definitely. After a long wait, actually just talked to state officials. I talked to Chris a little bit last week, and of course the county is very interested in that project because we've contributed a couple of $1 million to the demo costs along with the state of New York. All the approvals on the state end have been signed. Everything's all set on the state end. And I think that the village just has to pass what they call a seeker to actually at the local level to allow the demolition to happen. And I think that might happen at a meeting today, and I'm not sure. But if it happens, in the next day or two, my understanding is that demolition could happen, pretty quickly. So I would say, I'm hopeful that in the next 2 weeks you'll see excavators out there bringing stuff down or something related to that. But that's where we are with that. And it took a long time, but we're glad that it's there because it's a really important site, not just for Endicott but for Broome County. It's really the last, I would say partially underdeveloped industrial site that's left in Broome County, and you really can't develop it unless that old building group comes down, which it will.
Well, we'll see. And Chris Pelto, looking at the story I did recently, he said probably 4 to 6 months for Gorick to complete the demolition. As you mentioned, the county is providing about $2 million to cover the demolition project. New York State is providing $6 million, so a substantial amount of public money, public funding, is going to clear that site and basically have a site between McKinley Avenue and Hayes Avenue that could be open for some future development opportunities.
Absolutely. And I think there's, I think that, again, like I said, without demolishing that site, I mean, those buildings would just sit there and rot and be an impediment to any further progress on the site. So, that's the goal. And, we're really happy to have New York State be a partner with us on, demolishing this so we can, continue those redevelopment efforts there.
There was talk that the battery people IM3 New York might want to use that site for expansion, but obviously in recent months there continue to be concerns about the status of their production capabilities. What have you heard recently about the state of affairs for the Gigafactory and what might happen going forward?
I haven't heard anything since I think I might have seen an article where they had brought some people back to work, but other than that, I haven't heard anything. I look at that site as I think there's a lot of different industries that could come to that site, including some, local industries as well. Like, for example, the fact that we were able to get BAE to, when they got flooded out over 600 Main Street, to come over to that site and utilize that site and keep their whole workforce here and hire more and more people, has been a real testament to the people that worked on that project, and of course to BAE. So I think that there's certainly like BAE is a huge tenant in that site, and they employ a ton of people in our community, and they just keep getting hiring more and more people. So, whether it's, I'm not saying they're counting on any, single entity to occupy that space. I think that space could be occupied by a number of different entities. Like I said, it's Broome County's last largest, industrially developed site that is now going to have a lot of opportunities for expansion now that, in 4 or 5 months, that old IBM building group will be done and, gone.
Is there any ongoing preliminary discussions about BAE Systems expanding at the Endicott site?
I think they're always taking a look at it. I mean, like I said, if you go onto their website and you look at, all the job opportunities they have, they're a huge employer, and they're a really good, corporate citizen here, great partner with the community. And, I think they're always expanding, and I think there's always going to be opportunities for them to do that. We purchased a number of buses from them, and so do a lot of other entities across the United States as well, with the technology that they have. So, and I think it's the type of technology that, it's only going to grow. So, I see definitely a lot of possibilities for them to grow in the future. But I think the point of the demolition is that, without any type of public support, that those huge decaying buildings would just sit there, and there'd be no potential for the growth of the site. Oftentimes we, have inquiries from ESD about, do you have this amount of acres of property? There's a project that, is looking to come in next to available water and sewer and electricity and all that kind of stuff. And that site has always been a site that's got potential, but without removing all those buildings, it doesn't have a lot of potential, but now it will.
So it sounds as though the county, along with the IDA, would be very interested in working with BAE Systems or any other entity if they see that space once the old IBM buildings come down in the next 6 months. If they see that space and say, that would be good for some expansion or maybe consolidation of our operations elsewhere, that Broome County might be a good choice?
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's BAE, even if it's IM3 or any other industries that are outside Broome County or inside Broome County, I think we're just going to have that, just having that space that is a shovel-ready site that doesn't have any of those buildings on the site, will allow that park, that Huron site to be developed. And I think that's good for Endicott too. Having Endicott redevelop Washington Avenue is nice, and I'm glad that's happening, but you really got to get foot traffic on the avenue to help out those businesses. And, that as Huron is further developed and you have more people working there, naturally more people are going to be, eating lunch on the avenue, shopping there, and those types of things. So I think it could be very helpful to Washington Avenue and the rest of Endicott, and even Broome County as well, to see more development there.
Well, one thing that I love bringing up is the old Kmart building, because that's still there, a little to the west, and I know we've had multiple conversations that doesn't really seem to have much of a future, but there it stands. Anything new in the possible effort to eventually get that torn down and at least get that space opened up for something? Obviously, there are pollution, contamination concerns at the site, but seems the building must go.
So one of the things that we're taking a look at the county level is, I think one thing that everybody can agree on is that the building needs to be demolished. And I think after, we were happy to see Green Mountain take an interest in it, happy to see them try to put a project in it, but ultimately it became too expensive for them to be able to do this project. So one of the things that we're looking at is this is a more long-term project. Something has to happen there. And I think long-term, what has to happen, in the short term, I think the building has to come down. It's a huge eyesore. You've commented how many times I've said that, nobody should have to drive next to that, by that. And so the building really needs to come down in the short term. I think in the long term, you've got to have an entity that can come in that can work to redevelop the site. As you mentioned, there are some issues with, potentially things that are in the ground there, and so I think those have to be remedied. I think people in Endicott deserve that, right? They deserve to have the eyesore come down and for that property to be cleaned up. The property to be cleaned up, that's more of a medium-term process. I think the building being demolished, I think that can happen relatively quickly. I've been having discussions with the owner about, how the county could be helpful. And I don't know if the county will do it or not. That's still to be determined. We're kind of looking at things, but I think that's really what has to happen. I don't think you're necessarily I would be very surprised if somebody said, "Oh, I have a project to come in here and do this with the building, and I'm going to buy the property." I haven't heard anybody say that yet. So I think what, in the absence of that, I think what people in Endicott would like to see happen is that building get demolished and the site get cleaned up. And then once that happens, just very similar to what we're doing over in Huron, then all of a sudden you have opportunities, whether that's opportunities to just have green space, whether that's opportunities for, housing or some type of economic development project. Those would have to be seen. But I think the first thing to do is to get the building down and start to work on a plan to work with the state and start to really clean up the area so you can bring other types of development in there.
Speaking with Broome County Executive Jason Garner on this Monday morning, I'm Bob Joseph. You're listening to Binghamton Now. More to come on WNBF 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, streaming at WNBF.com. And we're talking with the Jason Garner, not any other Jason Garner you may have heard of, the Broome County Executive. By the way, again, congratulations on your big win last month in the election.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Still decompressing after a highly unusual campaign.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Thank
running
you.
Unopposed. So let's see. Oh, buses. That reminds me. So I have heard that there is potentially an issue now that Washington Avenue has been reconfigured and the existing bus stops have apparently been changed. Something has, of course, changed because of the configuration of Washington Avenue. Do you know whether BC Transit, whether the commissioner has been working with Endicott officials to deal with the logistics and the reconfiguration of Washington Avenue because of the way the buses need to stop, and yet traffic can't get around the buses the way they used to under the old configuration?
That's a good question. I know answers to a lot of your questions, but that is one answer that I don't know. my hope is that since a number of people do rely on BC Transit, especially in Endicott, that we'll be able to continue to accommodate service to Washington Avenue. But as to the specifics of how they're going to do that, that's a good question.
I understand
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I understand there are some issues because where the buses currently stop because of the new median and some planters that have been added, and the buses are stopped, traffic can't get around them because of the redesign. So apparently there are logistical issues on parts of the avenue, especially since the bulk of the construction work was completed. I know they were actually doing some work on the avenue this morning as far as sign installation, but most of the work, I'd say about 98% of it's been done. But indeed, there seem to be some issues with the buses on the avenue.
So the last time I was on the avenue was maybe about 2 weeks ago on a weekend, and I was taking my youngest son to the barber to get a haircut. I did notice the median, which seems to have some type of brick in it. You can stop me if I'm wrong on this, by the way. And but I did not see planters in there. But maybe that's the goal of putting in. Is that the goal to put planters?
Well, there's at least on the north end. There's at least one planter, I believe, not far from North Street, sort of where the median begins, I believe, as I recall. And then the median, for the most part, it's not really brick. They, I think they poured colored concrete. So
it looks brick.
Yeah. It's, we'll call it brick-like. But I can say if a BC Transit bus stops where they normally did in the past, that there might be an issue if it's in conflict with that planter or whatever is right at the center, at the north end of Washington Avenue. I can see where that. I haven't actually observed a problem, but I've been told that it's caused some problems with traffic.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, I don't know what the whole avenue is going to look like when it's done. Like I said, I was there a couple of weeks ago, but it's something I can definitely talk to our commissioner about. I know our commissioners had conversations with village officials, but as to what's going to be the how the transit routes are actually integrated with the new paved avenue, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, if you have a chance to check it out with Commissioner Greg Kilmer, and then get back to me on that, I'd like to know if they're working to resolve that, because I can see where there might be occasional problems.
Well, when I was down there, I didn't realize, that's an interesting thing, if there's going to be planters out there in the middle of in the median.
Yeah, and I think maybe there's only one, or maybe there are two. I don't think it's going to be dotting the entire avenue. I think most of the center is free, but I do know that there evidently are some occasional issues. I'll of course send a crew down. The I-team will we'll do a live report tonight at 6, 10, and 11. Imagine for the 11 o'clock live shot, we're not going to see much of anything, but you never know.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not. But we'll definitely we'll get in touch with our commissioner.
Yeah, let me know what Mr. Kilmer has to say about that. If there are issues with making the adjustments now that the project is essentially complete. It's 10:47. Here's one that I almost asked you about a few weeks ago when you were on, and I ran out of time, and then I found out, well, I probably should have touched base with you on this. What's going on at Willow Point Nursing Home in Vestal?
So we do have a new Willow Point Nursing Home administrator, Mike Keenan, which I think everybody will probably know the name. Mike Keenan ran the Good Shepherd Fairview Nursing Home for, decades, I believe. And, it's a 5-star facility. And he's kind of a legend in the community in terms of not just running a nursing home, but running a real quality nursing home. And our former nursing home administrator, Kate Hawk, had resigned, and I've always had a good relationship with Mike. When ever since I've been county executive, and even before when I was a legislator, I knew him a little bit, but certainly got to know him really well during COVID. Sometimes we would call him up and pick his brain about a lot of different types of things, COVID related, and how nursing homes, what he's doing at his nursing home, picking his brain. I've always thought that he's probably knows more about nursing homes in the area than anybody else has. He recently retired from Good Shepherd, and so we have the opportunity to bring him back.
When did he start as the new administrator?
About 2 weeks ago.
And why did the previous administrator leave?
They resigned. I don't think there was anything to it. We have people that come in and resign, and leave for other positions all the time. So, but we're really happy to have Mike come in here. Now, Kate did a pretty good job of running the nursing home. I think in this environment and today, it's really difficult to run nursing homes. It's probably one of the toughest jobs you could have, given all the regulations and the lack of people that are just available to work out there, whether they're nurses or LPNs. But I think as of today, we have 260 people in the facility, which is the highest amount we can have right now. We are licensed for 300 beds, but we don't have the staffing to fill that last wing. But Mike has been able to come in. He's got a lot of ideas on things that we can do to kind of move away from this temporary agency staffing that we have, and hire more people that directly work for Willow Point, and potentially even open up that last wing to be able to accommodate more people in the community to be able to use Willow Point and put their loved ones there. So it's a great opportunity for the community to have a guy that ran a 5-star nursing home facility for decades to come in and do that. And he's like I said, he's retired, so he's not going to be there forever. But I think it's going to be a great opportunity to take what he's learned in the different places that he's been at and done a really good job with, and utilize that for Willow Point and have him help, especially the administrative staff there, to help them into the future.
So does he have a specific length to his contract?
No, I think it's kind of an open-ended contract. I will keep him there as long as he wants to be there.
But will the county, is it with the understanding the county is also going to be actively seeking a more permanent administrator?
I think we understand. I think we understand that he's not going to be there forever. And but what I would like him to do is, the deputy administrator there is a wonderful deputy administrator, and I would like him to work with her and our other administrators to be able to take what he's learned at Good Shepherd and really incorporate that into Willow Point. I mean, I'd like Willow Point to be a 5-star facility. I'd like us to, we are right now greatly relying on temporary staff to staff our facility. And I'd like to get away from that and have him come up with a plan, which we will very quickly, to hire more people that work directly for the home. And with the whole goal is to improve patient care and make sure that we have that whole facility full. And I can't think of somebody better than Mike Keenan to be able to do that. Go into Good Shepherd and take a look at it and see all the great things that they've been able to do there. And if they can, replicate part of what they've been able to do at Good Shepherd at Willow Point, I'd be really happy.
What's the status of the Bronx company that was hired by the county a couple of years ago, Centers for Care, to oversee the management operations? Has anything changed?
Nope, nothing's changed. So they're overseeing the billing and financial part of that. They have a contract, and that contract is up at the end of 2025, so it's up next year. And so very shortly, what we'll be doing is, again, one of the reasons why we had Mike come in is he knows about all different, facets of the nursing home business, is that, like any contract, we'll be putting out another RFP to do the billing part of that. Now, they're certainly welcome to bid on that. I'm sure many other people will bid on that as well. But that's what we've hired them to do, because we had such an issue with billing and making sure, our bills, that we were getting the payments that we were supposed to get. That was one of the big issues that we had. Besides not having an administrator, that they were able to allow us to borrow for a while and keep the home running during COVID. But the contract ends for what they're supposed to be doing with the billing at the end of 25, and within a couple months we'll put out a request for proposals and pick the best company that we think will do the best job at Will Point.
Is the county giving any consideration to possibly selling the nursing home?
No.
Period.
Period.
All right. Well, as you recall, 2.5 years ago, when the debate over Centers for Care came up, one aspect of their contract with the county was they would have first refusal should the county get to the point of eventually wanting to sell the nursing home.
That's correct.
But you're saying that won't happen?
No.
It's 10:54 on WNBF. Another project that is well on its way toward completion is the Veteran Services Center on Binghamton's north side. Drove by there this morning. I was all over the Triple Cities in preparation for our conversation. The work is continuing at the Veteran Center. They're busy. The building, the exterior of the building, looks essentially finished, and I believe now a lot of the work is focused on the interior.
Yep. The goal was to get the exterior buttoned up before the end of the outside construction season, and so the inside will continue to be worked on, and we're still on track for a July 1st opening. And in the spring, you'll see the tiny homes get built up there. And right now, we're working with ClearPath and our Veteran Service Agency that the county operates, and the Veterans Southern Tier Veterans Support Group and some other organizations as to where they're going to fit in the building, because that was the whole idea of the building, is to get all the different vet agencies to be under one roof. So kind of planning on that, and like you said, construction is going really well there. So exciting to see that happen. Exciting to see what's happening in that whole area. I used to be a county legislator over there, and it's really great to see the not just that project happen, but finally the old Kmart Plaza finally getting redeveloped, and then Country Town Apartments, I think, is a really significant massive renovation project that's going to provide a lot of opportunities for people to access affordable housing here. So really, really great to see not just ours, but a couple of other really nice development projects happen in that area of town.
Popping back over to Endicott, you held a news conference, I guess it was a week and a half or so ago, about the consultant's report regarding the irrigation system and indicating something needs to be done. Clearly, I think everybody agrees the irrigation system needs a whole lot of work, millions of dollars, and yet the village wants to see the results of its own study. Has there been any movement? Are there any new developments to report between Broome County and the village of Endicott concerning the future of Enjoy?
I try to keep this. Well, I try to keep this really simple, and because I probably only have a minute to talk about it, but it's really simple. Our study came back, and it's going to cost $8 million to do it. So, we've told Endicott, you can either do it yourself, which is, your prerogative because you own the course. We just run it, or we can do it, and that way you don't have to saddle Endicott taxpayers with an $8 million bill. But we just like with a house, you can't take out a loan on a house to improve it unless you own the house. So they'd have to transfer us the golf course, and we're just trying to be helpful. We want to see that golf course remain in the community at a PGA tournament level. We want to see the tournament stay there. That's generates a lot of money in economic activity, generates a lot of money for nonprofits, and has one of the biggest concerts in upstate New York. That's all we want to do. And hope, and we got to get a decision soon. My understanding is that, our study came back, that it was going to cost $8 million. I bet the world that their study is going to come back and it's going to cost it's going to cost millions of dollars as well.
You said that you want a decision about ownership of the golf course, whether the village would be willing to turn over the golf course to the county. You want a decision from Endicott by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this for a year. And what they wanted to see was they wanted to see a study. And we had a study. That wasn't good enough, so they're going to see their own. And, I'm certain that, two reputable firms are doing the study. So I'm certain that the study is going to come back virtually the same. And, it's up to Endicott whether they want to spend their own money on an $8 million problem or if they want the county to be helpful. And again, not trying to be rude or anything like that, but I mean, we don't want to take 5 years to do this, right? Like, how long do you have to talk about this until you take action? And, we like to have nice things here, the course and everything that comes with it, the tournament, all the benefits that it comes to the community. Those are nice things to have. But, at some point you got to fix things. And,
as I always say, stay tuned. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Broome County Executive Jason Garner, thanks for your time. We'll look forward to speaking with you again.
Sounds good, Bob. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you. Live and local, you're listening to Binghamton Now. I'm Bob Joseph. We'll be taking your calls on our Monday program, so stay tuned for that. This is WNBF. It's fun radio. Sure, just got, I can't identify him. Eric, you don't want your name on the air.
Guy's upstairs.
Is he up here?
Yes.
Or who is, hold on, we got, over the microphone. Come on, you're one of us. Don't be shy. Come on. The one and only Eric, hi. By the way, I don't know if Mary Beth mentioned, but you are going to be the new host of Binghamton Now. Starting, it's.
Oh boy!
So
it's my worst nightmare.
Well, because you matter, and it's so important because of the great work you've done for Town Square Binghamton over the last several years. You are being rewarded with the hosting duties of Binghamton Now. So congratulations, my friend.
I'd like to just thank everyone who's made this moment possible.
The little people,
all
and the Academy. No, that's not. So you're saying Robbie is here? I think.
Yes, he is. Can I bring him down?
Send him down. I saw he was he's scheduled to come in. Initially, he was going to be on at 10:10, and then Jason Garner wanted to come on at 10:10. So I've got Robbie set. So bring him down. Yeah. I love this place. By the way, disregard that previous segment. It was just a couple of guys having fun. It's a couple of guys having fun here at the station. Good morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? Somebody calling to congratulate Eric on his promotion. WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, Joe of Greater Ithaca.
Yeah, what's up, Joe? Is it snowing in Greater Ithaca?
Yes. Very nice. Puts a nice coating on things, brightens it up. Almost very light wind, if any. And it's cold enough not to be sloppy, I guess. Anyway, pardon me, I'd like to speak about Kennedy.
Yes, everybody wants a pardon. I want to be pardoned. I'm going to send an email to the pardon at Whitehouse at wh.gov and get my name in because I figure all of a sudden there are going to be so many requests. I wish to be pardoned by the big guy.
I was in a grocery store. Lady walked by and she's the old term. She says, "Pardon me," and I said, "I pardon you." They gave her a laugh, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
So what do you think? I need to ask, what do you think about the boy? This is truly a shocker that the president would pardon his son. Wow. Nobody saw that one coming.
I'll use the term properly. I could not care less.
Well, again, actually, this saves the American public millions of dollars because in the unlikely event he were sentenced to incarceration, that's not cheap. I mean, think about this. Having, just the security alone would cost the American taxpayer millions of dollars because you can't put them into like Supermax prison somewhere out there near Denver or wherever Supermax is. You can't put Hunter Biden, son of a former president, into Supermax without sufficient protection. So the Secret Service would probably have to take up at least half of Supermax. So they'd have to let half of the Supermax inmates out or, ship them out over here to Front Street to keep them at Broome County Jail. So I think we dodged a financial bullet. I think Joe Biden saved us all a lot of money.
Well, let's put it, I don't think he ever would have went. And I think.
What do you mean he would? He would gladly pay the price if he were sentenced to 10 to 20 years of hard time at Supermax in Colorado. Hunter Biden would take it, and he would give a brief statement to the court and to his fellow citizens saying, "I apologize for my wrongful actions and my criminal conduct, and I am willing to pay the price to pay my debt to society."
But I don't think he would have been sentenced to prison.
No, I don't either. I think he would have been sentenced to the detail out there on 17C in Tioga County on Sundays where they clean up the trash. He would have to go out there 2 Sundays during March and April when the weather gets better and pick up trash like they already do. And I would say I would mark his record good if he would just help pick up some of the litter along 17C on one of those work details. That'd be fine.
Well, anyway, I said I wanted to talk about Kennedy.
Okay. The floor is yours.
Yeah, well, he's got 2 aspects to him. One, that he's against vaccination. The other, he's in favor of getting rid of pesticides, as I understand it.
And he also thinks we ought to stop fluoridating Binghamton's water.
Yeah, well, that's a side issue. I don't agree with that. But
what? You don't agree with getting poison out of Binghamton's water?
No. From everything I've seen with that, the thing is, the study that poisoned people was natural and it was very high dose.
Yeah, but over time, maybe it's cumulative. So, say if I've been drinking Binghamton water for the last 85 years or so, plus or minus, is there any reason to believe that it could affect my ability to, I don't know, make the right political decisions? Some people think that having too much fluoride causes one to become liberal.
Well, look at your, I don't know, chlorine and a whole bunch of other things are put in there to.
Well, yeah, they should take that stuff out too.
Well, there you go. Well, I have a well, and nothing is put into that.
See, and you're fine. See, I know lots of people who get their water from wells, and they don't put fluoride in, and their teeth are beautiful.
I don't have the protection from the fluoride. I was around in Endwell. Okay, lived there, actually Johnson City for a long time, growing up, and I hadn't been to the dentist in ages, and they had so much stuff on my teeth they had to take 2 days to clean it. And
they use a chisel.
Yeah, he says, "I'm amazed you don't have any cavities." And I was like 20 or something at the time with it. But anyway, that's not the whole big point. The whole thing is, most everything he has in that aspect of it is good, about the processed food and the pesticides and, just the better food. That's like...
Oh, yeah. And I heard that he's going to recommend to the president, starting January 20th, instead of eating those quarter-pounders, that he move up to half-pounders.
Well,
with double the onions.
The food for the children like that. There was someone locally here that was one of these radical left people that got them to improve the food that the children had, and there was a blowback on it because the people that prepared the food, it was more work for them. They couldn't just pour the slop out of the can.
Well, plus it cost more. I mean, there's the main thing. It comes down to money. I mean, we can't afford to feed healthy food to our children.
Well, when you look at all of the things that are like that are not good for you overall, it does make the food more affordable. And, you know, boy, I remember when DDT was popular. And
I mean, you know, I think DDT got a bad rap.
Well, it was to feed the world, okay? And it did.
Sure.
It did help.
Sure, it helped. And just like LR and apples, you know, till 60 Minutes came along, the do-gooders at 60 Minutes thinking that they could shine the 60 Minutes spotlight on LR and apples. I mean, everybody was fine with it. We love nice red apples. So, you know, Leslie Stahl and her 60 Minutes team ought to butt out.
All you had to do was wash them. You know, if they didn't like that.
No, it still seeps in. Come on, man. You know pesticides seep into your food, your fruit and vegetables. Come on.
It depends on the vegetable. You know, the apple does have a skin on it, just like you do. Your skin keeps a lot of the bacteria.
But every time that I'm playing in pesticides, whether it's DDT or LR, I'm sure some of it gets through my skin.
Well, the difference is you breathe it in. And apples don't breathe like that, you know.
Well, you'd be surprised. Anyway, I appreciate you've certainly given us some food for thought. I appreciate your call. Have a guest standing by. Coming up next, we have some very important information about a holiday tradition here in Binghamton. So you won't want to miss it. You might want to grab a pen or a pencil so you could take some notes. Please, there will be a quiz at the end of the program. This is Bob Joseph live on News Radio WNBF. First, we're pleased to welcome back to the program Robbie Manners with the Downtown Singers. Good morning.
Good morning, Bob.
And thank you for your patience. Sorry you had to wait a little bit here.
That's all right. It's always enjoyable to hear people call in.
Hey, you get to see how the sausage is made.
Absolutely.
So, I've always said, a lot of people say, well, you like sausage, but you don't want to see how it's made. My feeling is, yeah, I love sausage, and I love it even more after I've seen videos. I haven't been to a sausage plant, but I've seen enough videos, so by now I know how they make sausage and hot dogs and bologna, and now I want even more. You know, some people would say, but don't you find it in some ways distasteful? No, it shines. It's good to actually see the process, and you know, I trust in my government. As long as the federal government approves it, you know, it must be good for you.
Well, it's always fun to see how the sausage gets made. I do love watching those videos, and sometime you'll have to come to one of our Downtown Singers rehearsals to see how rehearsals get made.
I would love to do that, and you're looking forward to the big annual presentation. It's going to come up on December 14th this year. And it'll be in Johnson City at Sarah Jane Johnson Memorial, United Methodist Church on Main Street in the Village. Tell us a little bit about this tradition, the Messiah and the Binghamton Downtown Singers, because this is something that so many people I know look forward to year after year.
It's really great to have it every year in Johnson City or the greater Binghamton area. We do it, or the Downtown Singers have been doing this performance since 1983 when Alan Krebs started the group. And it's been a tradition ever since to bring in 4 soloists, a full orchestra, and perform one of the most beloved oratorios in the world is just a joy every year.
And you mentioned about rehearsing. It's not one of those things where you send out an email on December 2nd and say, hey, remember, we're gonna start at 7:00 on Saturday evening, December 14th. So let's all get together on Thursday, December 12th and do a run through. There is a lot of work that goes into this, not just with the Downtown Singers, but also work with the soloists that are featured. There's a lot that goes into preparing for the annual production.
Yeah, we started our rehearsals on middle of September, and we've been working every week ever since. We're excited to have 4 soloists, Martha Guth, Dawn Pierce, Val Rideout, and Tim Lefevre come back and join us for another year's performance, and really start putting it together with our dress rehearsals on Thursday the 12th, and then our performance on Saturday the 14th at 7 o'clock.
So what's it like to be conductor of this very special event? As I said, so many people look forward to it with anticipation.
It's a joy and a challenge. I find it very exciting and so much fun to be able to conduct some of my most favorite choruses. But also it's a challenge to corral up to 100, and I think we're about 120 people this year. So it's hard to make it a fun, emotional, and educational experience for all the people in the group, and put on a good performance at the end of the process.
And it's great for people here in Broome and Tioga counties, because the odds are you're going to know one or more of the people involved in the performance. As you mentioned, there are so many people who are involved in the Messiah every year, and so it could be some of your friends and neighbors, or maybe coworkers, or maybe relatives.
That's the fun part of Downtown Singers, is anybody can join at the beginning of any concert cycle. So you can get a whole slew of people from all over Broome County, or beyond. It's really enjoyable to try to bring all of that talent together.
So it'll be December 14th. It will start at 7 p.m. I note that's an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
So people should, if you make plans, just remember it'll start at 7 this year. If people want tickets, or if they want any additional information about this year's presentation, what can they do?
They can go to downtownsingers.org, our website, visit us on social media, Facebook and Instagram, and look for our posters around town.
Sounds good. Anything else you wanted to add?
I think that's it for today, Bob. Thank you.
Robbie Manners, thanks for coming in. Wish you the best. I hope to get there. I hope. Haven't been there, I'll say, due to scheduling issues over the last 2 years, but anytime I've been, it's just magnificent. It makes you feel so good about the season, and also so good about our area.
Absolutely.
Wish you the best.
Thank you.
It's 11:27. We're going to take some phone calls right now on our Monday program. So if you have things you'd like to talk about, we have time. I'm here till noon on Binghamton Now, 607-772-1290. That's our number. WNBF, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, streaming at WNBF.com. WNBF, I beg your pardon, I never promised you a rose garden. The Rose Garden strategy. Of course it is. 11:29. Congratulations to the Bidens for doing what any American family would do. I beg your pardon. And more pardons to come. I would think that there will be additional family members and friends, hangers-on, contributors, and even potentially media people. What if he pardons Rachel Maddow? Huh? What if he pardons Keith Uberman? Huh? What if he pardons AOC? What if he pardons Tish James? What if he pardons Kathy Hochul? What if he pardons Taylor Swift? I don't know. I'm just saying. Be prepared for more pardons to come. Pardon mania. Let's go back to the phones. Tom and Endwell, you're on the air.
How's it going, Bob?
Oh, it's going swimmingly.
There you go. So this whole pardon thing, the key factor is when he came out and he stated that he wasn't going to pardon Biden. The press secretary, said he stands behind his word. All that was show, because they were using it to say that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, they're not above the law. That was a jab to Trump, right? They're not above the law. The key is the Democrats are above the law. And let me explain. Pardoning Hunter the way he did, he went back 10 years. Now, if you follow it back 10 years, that's when they were doing all the shady dealing with Ukraine. So if you have to follow the money, Hunter Biden was doing all the dirty work with Joe Biden's brother in the mix. But if you pardon Hunter Biden, that means you can't follow the money. So therefore, his brother is pretty much pardoned. Joe Biden just pardoned himself on that whole deal of all the Ukraine, everything that's going on. And then Hunter Biden obviously gets, pardoned for tax evasion, the federal law with the gun, and like all these things. So they just said that, Biden came out and said that he's not going to pardon Hunter Biden is to throw jabs at Trump, because as soon as he did that, the mayor of Binghamton, a bunch of these guys were like, see, they're not above the law. He's going to make Hunter Biden face the consequences.
Oh.
And you had people like me that said, no, he's not.
Oh,
and here we are.
Oh, come on, Tom. Come on. Look, we're all adults here. Nobody is surprised in the least that Hunter Biden was pardoned. The only thing that was perhaps something of a surprise is the timing. But I could have told you if you called in last week and said, Bob, what do you think? You think Joe is going to pardon Hunter? And I'd say, absolutely. And then you would say, so when will he do it? I say, I have no idea. Anytime between now and the time he leaves office.
That's not the point. The point is...
but it is the point. You make it sound like there's something surprising or even something wrong. And I'm here to tell you, Joe did exactly what any parent would do. I would expect there'd be a serious question in my mind about whether Joe Biden was capable of leading America if he didn't pardon his son Hunter. This shows, at least for one day, Joe Biden was absolutely in his right mind. And he did the right thing, as any parent would do. You don't want your kid to possibly be facing a substantial fine or maybe even the slightest chance of incarceration. Nobody wants that for their child.
Bob, it was about stating that Biden and his administration were not above the law.
Oh, come on. They're all above the law. The Supreme Court ruled earlier this year the president is above the law. We know it. We don't have to like it. I didn't appoint those justices who voted to say the president's above the law. You know who appointed them. Hey, can't do a thing about it. The Supremes have ruled the president of the United States is above the law.
I mean, honestly, you're kind of like skipping the point. Trump has to go through all the court systems, and now that he's president or is going to be the president, the judges, the DAs are all like backpedaling. They don't want a part of it because they know they use lawfare and to try to like convict Trump and holding on. Now you got New York City. Now they didn't let it go. They're going to extend it. But all they're going to do is to let time fade away, and then they're going to sweep it under the rug because they know that they should have never taken it to trial. They know that they don't have anything against it. Even the bank said that they would do business with Trump, hands down.
Banks don't care about relatively minor things. They know what he did was wrong, but they still want his business because he's a billionaire. All banks want to do business with billionaires, even if at times the billionaire customers they've dealt with have actually lied to them. So it's just business. It's not about right or wrong. It's about business. Banks want business from billionaires. Banks don't want business from me and you. Come on. It's clear what's going on. Any bank would gladly do business with a billionaire felon.
Bob, I've been in real estate. I own a ton of homes. I own a ton of homes outside the state. I can tell you right now, I can go and say to the bank and say my property's worth $3.5 million and I'd like to get a home equity line of credit on it. They would say, okay. They send out their own estimators. And their estimators will estimate that my property is only worth $100. And they'll give me 50% of the value, 30% of the value of my home. That's the way it works. So Trump didn't lie about anything. The banks make the final decisions with what.
Well, he apparently provided the banks, the lending institutions were provided with inaccurate information.
It doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter. It does matter. Even if the banks say, oh, we'd gladly do business with them in the future, that's not the point. The point is he provided them, they say, and by the way, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a prosecutor. All I know is what's been alleged is he was alleged to have provided wrong information to get those loans. So is that something you want to encourage?
Bob, I've bought more houses in a year than you've owned your whole life.
Again, irrelevant. When you seek financing from any lending institution, you sign documents attesting to the best of your belief, all the information you've provided them is accurate. That's something you sign every time that you are looking to borrow money. So if you sign that knowing full well some of the information was not accurate, that means you're a big fat liar.
So Bob, just say if you were signing those documents and you thought that things that you put down were 100% accurate, and they find out that you were off a little bit, they're gonna drag you through courts and fine you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Bob, that makes 0 sense.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate your call. I find it reprehensible that people knowingly put false information on their lending applications and then think they can somehow get away with it. It's 11:39 at WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Tom from Susquehanna. You know what, Bob? This guy was 100% right that was just on the phone. Are you so dense and so Democrat-leaning that you can't see the man's point?
No, I can't because I'm stuck in a windowless studio underground. He's in Endwell, 12 miles away. How the heck can I see his point?
No. I know. But, I mean, really, the Democrats, I think this might be the end of the Democrat Party. They're going to go the way of the Whigs. I mean, even the Democrats, how do you have almost $2 billion and now you wind up after the campaign owing $20 million? And you pay Sharpton. You pay all these celebrities. This is ridiculous. And still you're a Democrat. Still you give them that benefit of the doubt. I know it's good for radio, but really, Bobby, I know you're not feeling this thing. You're not acting sensibly.
No, I'm acting fairly. I view it is what's fair. And what's fair is that Hunter Biden gets to move on with his life after acknowledging mistakes were made, and he starts with a clean slate. I guess the only thing I was disappointed in that Joe, the president, put a start date of January 1st, 2014. What if the Republicans, starting in January, find that Hunter Biden committed crimes before January 2014? Then he's really going to be in trouble. So I think it would have been wise if he was going to put a time frame on it. He should have said whatever Hunter Biden's birth date is. I could look it up, but I'm not going to go to that trouble. But from whatever the date Hunter Biden was born, from that date through From that date through January 20th, 2025, any crime that Hunter Biden may have committed is pardoned. And that way, he gets to start January 20th with an absolutely clean slate.
Yeah. You know, I just hope that the Biden family are now got all these millions of dollars. They're there laughing. They're laughing at Democrats. I'm sure when they get back to Delaware, they're going to say, boy, did we have some run. And Biden, he's a junkie. He got thrown out of the Navy for using drugs.
Yeah, but there are millions of people who have substance abuse problems. Substance abuse disorder doesn't affect only Democrats or only liberals or only the wealthy or only the poor. Everybody is affected by substance abuse disorder. It could happen to any one of us.
Yeah, Bobby, and then you pay it. If you commit a crime while doing it, you should pay for it. They are above the law.
Yes, the Supreme Court said people can be above the law. Until the Supreme Court ruling earlier this year, the general rule of thumb in the United States of America was no one was above the law. Well, the Supreme Court changed it. Don't blame me. I didn't vote on that case.
Change it. How did the Supreme Court change?
Oh, I'm not gonna relitigate that case. Look it up. Look it up. I'm telling you, the Supreme Court should think long and hard about some of the decisions they made this past year. Because I'll tell you, just based on some of the rulings this year, Tom, I think they're going to get a big lump of coal. No, they don't deserve any fuel to heat their homes. They're going to get a big rock in their stockings.
Yeah. Bob, what they did, they corrected a misjudgment as far as Trump was concerned. Those were trumped-up charges. There's no doubt about it. And now you're starting to see. I mean, you got this guy that prosecuted him resigning before everybody gets in there. It's, I'll tell you, I have never in my life felt so disappointed in my country and in the FBI in my whole life. I volunteered in the service. If we get into another war, I wouldn't. I would keep my kid. I would send my kid to Canada because it's not worth it. This is a disgrace. A disgrace. What do you think?
Well, I think it's all going to change next month anyway. So that is the good news for any.
The better.
Well, hey, we'll see. The only thing I know, January 20th, everything changes. Everything will change January 20th. So don't worry. Be happy. Everything will change. Everything will get better when the new president is sworn in at noon on January 20th.
Yeah. What was that? That song, Don't Worry, Be Happy? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, I'm not. I'm not looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. You know it. I'm a realist. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm a realist.
I don't think so, Bobby.
Yes, you know so. You're afraid to acknowledge that my approach to most issues is a realistic approach. It's an approach aiming at fairness for the individual and also fairness for society.
Do you want me to play God Bless America after that speech?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me cue up Kate Smith. Come on, man. Look, I, and you know it. You don't want to say it on the air, but you know I'm on your side.
Oh, well, yeah. I have a funny feeling that you are. I honest to God.
Well, and that's the thing. Hunter Biden, what a sad, sad story. It's a tragic story. There have been so many elements of tragedy to this kid's life. He lost his brother. He wound up seeing his father elevated to the White House, and he's had to put up with nonstop abuse from the New York Post and from Newsmax, and Dan Bongino, and Sean Hannity and Mark Levin, the Red Eye guys. All they do nonstop attacking Hunter Biden.
Yeah. When are you going to use the race card? Huh?
Never. I never will.
Yeah, well, you're starting it with Biden. You know what? All right, I'll give you an example here. How come that guy that was from, I can't think of his name now, but the guy that married Mary Magdalene, he wants the Democrats to come up and audit her.
Oh, you mean Q-Ball Carville?
Carville, right.
Yeah, Jimmy Carville. I love that guy.
What?
I love Jimmy Carville.
Well, James Carville, what do you think about him wanting to have her audit her election campaign donations and her expenses?
I didn't hear about that. If he thinks they should be audited, I agree.
Well, that's what he wants to do.
All right. I'm with him, man. I hadn't heard that, but if James Carville says the campaign budget or the campaign finances should be audited, I agree 100%.
Yeah. Hey, do you know what happened to his wife, Mary Magdalene? I haven't heard from her.
No, I don't. But that's a good point. I've seen him occasionally, but I haven't heard her in a few years. Anything. So,
and she's still a young woman, right? I mean, she's not up there in age. She's alive, right?
Well, I don't know. I assume she is. I just don't know. I don't know if she has had any health issues. But that's a good point. I hadn't even thought about it.
Yeah.
I mean, she's great. The two of them together, honestly, they're great. They're the greatest.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I agreed with her 100%. I says, I can't believe she's getting married to this guy.
Why?
And guess what? They were married 30 years, Bobby.
Yes, that's why it's so good.
I mean, it's unreal.
It's great. I think it's the greatest thing.
Oh, boy.
I mean, imagine being a squirrel in that house. Say if you're Q-Nut the squirrel hanging out at the Carville Magdalene residence. Imagine what Thanksgiving Day is like.
You know, they say they don't talk. Plus, I think they had a kid, too. They don't talk about politics is what I heard.
Well, that's smart. That's smart. They only talk about politics when they're on TV. That's smart.
How can you do that, though? I mean, I have it here. Like, my wife doesn't like Hannity for some reason. You know, so I'm telling her, you know, why not? Like, when he had that, what was that debate? I thought he was, a monitor was very good. Oh, no, he was unfair. No way. He was very good. Bob?
Yeah.
Bobby? Yeah. Hello?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what am I supposed to say to that?
Well, it always comes up. You gotta, politics is interwoven in everybody's personality. You can say it's not, but unless you're a dunderhead and don't listen to anything, it's in there. It's in there, right?
Yeah. So let's see. I'm looking up. I haven't seen anything recently about Mary Magdalene, but so hopefully she's fine. I see nothing to indicate that she's maybe what I think, because a lot of the stories are focusing on Q-Ball Carville, and I say that with love because I think he's referred to himself as Q-Ball because of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so James.
That's
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, it's fine. So James Carville has been in the spotlight a lot, especially on Hannity, because he was in demand this year, and as James Carville said frequently, he was in a rather unusual position that now that he's 80 and he's not going to run for anything ever, he's actually able to tell it like it is. Whereas most people under 80 who might have aspirations to run for something in the future don't dare. tell it the way it is, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, because they don't want to burn bridges. And right now,
He's 80 years old?
He is.
He looks damn good for 80.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he just turned 80 in October. So, yeah.
Boy, he moves around and everything.
I know.
Very good.
So, anyway, appreciate your call. Hope you have a great afternoon.
All right. Take care, Bobby. Bye-bye.
1152 WNBF, WNBF.com. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Larry from Kirkwood, Bob.
Hey there.
I'll tell you what. I can honestly say I don't like Carville very much, but I'll tell you what he said the other day made some sense. He was giving the business tit out the progressive youngins that were spouting off their nonsense about things, So
he's brilliant. You don't have to agree with him on everything. He's just brilliant.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I can't even begin to tell you how amazed I was so many years ago when I heard Mary Madeline was marrying this guy, and I was thinking, what the heck?
Well, that shows that she's smart, too. You don't have to agree with someone's politics to get married to him.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I just thought of Carville as one of the most obnoxious people on earth. But she apparently sees a sweeter side to this guy than all the rest of us.
We only know what he sounds like when he's talking about political issues. So for all I know, he's the nicest guy. He could be the nicest guy in America for all I know, and just because I don't agree with him.
Yep. Well, let's talk about Biden pardoning him.
That was good. I know that was, at least I slept well last night because I had been wondering exactly when the pardon would be announced, and so I didn't have to keep waiting. So finally, he put me out of my misery waiting for when the pardon would be announced. So I was happy about that.
Well, I was actually thinking to myself, when I heard him say at least once, no, I'm not going to pardon my son. And then he said yesterday that he did. At first I was taken aback, but then again it was like, well, of course, what are you expecting this guy?
Right.
He's a
Not just this guy, any guy. Any guy.
He's a liar personified.
Any guy is going to pardon his son or daughter. If you have a chance, you're going to pardon. You're going to pardon your child. You're going to pardon your siblings. You're going to pardon your parents. Everybody gets a pardon. Why not? Take advantage of it. It's a unique opportunity. Thank you for your call. 1154 WNBF. Good morning. Oop. Morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi. This is Jim from Endwell.
Hey, Jim.
First, how you doing today? Good?
Yeah, I am well. How are you?
Good. Very good. Thank you. I'd like to say that I think it's Tom that was on just a little while ago. Him and Beverly are my two favorite callers to listen to for different reasons, but they're my two favorite. But anyway, you've got a lady in Georgia who's got handcuffed and arrested because her 11-year-old walked to the store. And there's a grandmother who's in jail for January 6th. And I can't believe that you actually said that you think Joe Biden should have pardoned his son for like his entire life. I mean, the fellas...
Why not? Why? What's it to you?
It's not right. He's an admitted drug addict. He didn't pay his taxes. Why should he get a free start over card? I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Because it's that time of year. These are the holidays. This is the time. If not now, when?
Never. He should pay his debt to society. And maybe Joe Biden, before he leaves, should pardon himself in case anything comes up with the documents stored in his garage next to his Corvette.
Yes,
So
I was thinking that too. Actually, somebody said that the reason he announced Hunter's pardon last night is he's planning to resign shortly after he gets back from Africa, that Joe is going to resign, and then Kamala Harris will pardon Joe Biden and the entire crime family. That's what somebody said.
But it's injustice. It's not right.
Well,
so Trump.
The thing is, justice is for the little people. Justice is for you and me. Justice isn't for billionaires, and justice isn't for presidents or people who are connected.
So when Trump gets in, he should pardon himself, say, for the last 30 years of anything he may have done, and then all these charges against him will just go away?
I didn't say he should, but he will.
Well, why shouldn't he, if Biden did that same thing?
Hey, I don't think he should, but he will. You know, it's just, that's my feeling. I'm entitled to my opinion about Don as much as Joe. Joe can pardon his son. We know when Trump was president, he pardoned his, what was his father-in-law? The Kushner guy, and he's even rewarding that convicted criminal with an ambassadorship to France. So, look, Trump will Trump, Biden will Biden, and the rest of us just look on in amazement.
All right, well, I guess we can just agree to disagree on
yeah, I have no problem with your opinion. I respect your opinion.
Okay. All right, well, it looks like you only have about 2 minutes left, so I'll hang up and we'll talk again sometime.
Wait, stay on the line. I have a few seconds left and nobody else is on hold. So what are you going to do this week? We only have a few seconds, but any plans this week?
Yeah, let's see. I got my wife having a surgery coming up and my dog's getting fixed. So I'm going to be kind of busy coming up here.
All right.
I got 2 puppies and, I never had 2 little puppies at the same time, so...
All right. Well, I wish you, I wish you and your wife and your dog, I wish everybody the best. But sometimes it's tough when so much is going on, especially at the holiday season. So I wish you all well.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you, and I wish you well.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye-bye.
And that, my friends, is our program for today. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I'll be back tomorrow morning from 9 to noon. Bob Joseph, Binghamton Now, WNBF.